So try Jesus, please don't try me, 'cause I find I have no problem laying these hands. All right, amen and hallelujah. Welcome to this week's Campus Life and Student Services webinar. We are very happy to have y'all here today. We are doing a little demonstration. So you see, we all have on our new and favorite accessory, our mask. So we just want to drive home the point and the importance of wearing your mask at all times and being socially distant. So we are all also socially distant today. So please remember, maintain your 6 feet distance, wear your mask, try Jesus, don't try me. So do not come around me without your mask on, or like the guy in the song said, might have to throw some hands. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it today. I'm getting a lot of questions right now on the side, so we will be sure to answer all of those, but we will kick off today with Dr. Bullard.
Hey everybody, I hope you're well. I hope everybody can hear me okay. This is certainly challenging my ability to talk through this mask. I'm gonna pull it down since I'm in the room by myself. I want to say, first of all, how much I appreciate, especially those of you all who have logged in each week to just sort of get the latest and greatest around our preparations for this fall. And each week we've tried to have somebody on the call, maybe a different person each week, to really look at the questions that you've asked maybe the week before and just try to ensure that you get all of the important information that you need heading for these next couple of weeks. A couple of things I wanted to say real quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to the experts. First of all, for students who are on the phone call, please, if you all have the information that we're sharing with you, please share with your parents, okay? Please share that with your parents. We are directing a lot of the information that we're sending out. We send it out through email, we send it on social media, it's on our website, those kinds of things. You all know where those areas are. And so if the information doesn't get to your parents, and they're assuming in a lot of times that we aren't sending it out, and I don't want that to be the case. I actually just got off the phone with a parent who said that she has not received any information about anything to do with fall plans. And so I'm really uncomfortable with that, because I know we've been working really hard and we have been doing these meetings every Friday. And we've also been sending the information out consistently. And when we get new information, we send it out. If there's no new news, then there's nothing more to send at that point. But we also have provided a lot of the emails and contact information for the different offices. And that information is provided so that you can follow up with a specific question that you may have. So on these calls, I know a lot of times we talk in sort of general terms, but if you have a specific question, then you should follow up with the individual offices. And those office spaces are included in the plan. I think it's on page maybe 16 or so. So this week, though, I'm going to update that. This weekend, I should say, I'm going to update that plan and send out more, even more contact information, because this is the way that we will be interacting. A lot of it will be virtual, even though we will be on campus. And so I do, again, want you to share that information with your parents and let them know that this information is going out steadily. And then if there's a direct line of communication with you and them, then I feel like we'll be okay. All right, that's number one. Number two, a part of being a Dillard student is practicing all of the pieces that Dr. Williams mentioned earlier that are in the plan. So masking, washing hands, all of the above. Social distancing. We have to make that commitment the moment we step foot out of our car and move into this bubble, if not already. So wherever you are right now, you should have already made that commitment to yourself and to your parents and to your families. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're in a situation where as folks are coming to campus, I know we're excited to see each other. I know we want to hug on each other and love on each other and say, hey, I missed you. It's been 5-6 months. I'm glad to see you. But we have to go ahead and think in our minds, how are we going to express our love and admiration for each other while maintaining this social distance? How are we going to do that? So go ahead and start having those conversations. It may be, I know the Greeks have a way to do it, but I know some of the other students. How are we going to do that? We can go with the Black Panther piece. Hit it, Dr. Courtney. How's it look? It goes like that right there with the crosses right here. You can hit them with something like that. That's fine. Okay. But please, 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 please make that commitment before you get to campus that this is what you're going to do. People are watching. Parents are watching. The media is watching. And I can only imagine that over the next few weeks as we get to campus, there'll be a lot of folks from the media and different places, folks who said that we really should not have come back. If we're going to be honest, we really shouldn't have come back for this fall. Those people are going to be watching, and they're going to say, see, I told you college students couldn't handle it. I told a group of student leaders the other night that a part of the reason that we are able to do this is because we really and truly felt that you all had the maturity to handle this giant task, that you had the maturity to sort of walk through this and say, you know what, I can be responsible for the people in my bubble, responsible for my family. And so because that's the case, we have elected to bring you back, although it be in a very limited fashion. We've decided to do that. Please don't prove us wrong. Please don't prove us wrong. Because it really is on us. And it won't be the times that we're out on the yard or those kinds of things. It will be the times when we're not looking. So this isn't one of those things where, I got over on Dr. Bullard, I got over on Dr. Saylor because they didn't see me not socially distancing. If you do this at, 7 p.m. at your house and nobody else knows about it, you could get sick. And there's nothing that we can do to protect you in that regard. And so this is really a personal responsibility that you have to take for yourself, even when you're not around us, okay? This isn't something where you're trying to get over on people. This is life or death. And so I'm really encouraging folks around this issue to save themselves. I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna make the right decisions. And then once that happens, I really do believe we can make it through this semester. And then maybe we can just do our small part to get these numbers down so we can move to the next phase. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, is moving to the next phase so we can all be in the gym, or we can all be at basketball games, we can all be at pep rallies, whatever that is, and come together. But right now we've got to do this differently. So that's really all I have for right now. Did I miss anything? They sent out an agenda and I didn't read it. I apologize.
Yes. Can you talk about the COVID testing and the guidelines around that?
Sure. So really quickly, what we've asked consistently over these calls is that people go and try to get testing in your hometown. Some of you all have written to us, and I sent out a memo maybe about a week ago to say, hey, if you cannot get tested in your current city, send us a note, and then we have testing that will happen this Monday. So those of you all who are in New Orleans, you can come over to campus and you can get tested on Monday. But please do let us know before you come so that we can look at numbers and be sure that we have the appropriate number of tests. The next week, starting August the 17th, we will have testing that will go from the 17th, I think, at least until the 25th. And so because we will have that testing sometime between the first couple of weeks that you're here, we will be able to get everybody tested. However, as you know, these tests are limited in some ways. So if you can get a test and provide us with a baseline before you get here, that would be great. But if you live in one of those cities that you really need that support in terms of getting tested while you're here, please let us know and let us help you and accommodate you with one of the tests while you're here. The bottom line is that you will need to be tested within the first couple of weeks that you're here so that we know what everybody's status is. And then the final thing I'll say about the testing piece is that the testing, it will happen consistently and randomly throughout the semester. So if it's determined that, for instance, on a hall that you live, that somebody has been exposed or something like that, we may ask you to say, hey, we want to get this hall tested so that we can be sure that everybody on this hallway is good. If you're in a Greek organization, if you're in a student organization, somebody that you've been around has been exposed and you know that you have in social distance, we will ask you to test. And we're going to do that contact tracing throughout the semester just to be sure that we can keep our hands on this thing. So I hope that answers the questions around testing. And please do drop additional questions in the chat if you need to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Bullard. As Dr. Bullard said, you all drop any questions in the chat. Some of y'all are texting them to me and emailing them. Got them. I'll be sure to ask those to the panelists. Next up, we have Dean Saylor.
Hi. Dr. Courtney, can you remind me again what you would like for me to discuss?
Yeah, Dr. Bullard talked a little bit about it, but just about, accountability measures and the importance of social distancing and what will happen if someone is not being socially distant and all that good stuff.
Okay. I hate always being the bearer of bad news and the person who, brings forth this. But of course, because we are in the position of keeping our campus safe and our community safe, that's always our priority. And ideally, we would like for the members of our community to take part in ensuring that our community stays safe. And we also, we're optimistic and we believe the best, and we, feel like everyone is going to do that. But unfortunately, sometimes we find ourselves in positions where individuals do not uphold, those standards that we kind of have expected for them to uphold. And when they do that, then, of course, my office will have to intervene. And that's not the fun part of our job, but it's the necessary part of our job. So understand this year that we are not playing when it comes to keeping this campus safe. We typically have what we like to call a restorative justice type of philosophy around judicials, where we're not just trying to put people out. We're not just saying, okay, the minute you mess up, you're gone. That's never been our operation and how we do things. And it's not like it's going to be that now. However, we are going to be, we are going to show more enforcement around these issues, particularly because there's such a dynamic impact that can be made just by someone being simply negligent. So I've mentioned this in some other calls, and perhaps with the student leaders. We all know that this is a new culture for us, a new norm for us. And I talked about this before, how sometimes, when we first, start driving, we had to remember to take your keys out the house. And then it was, okay, remember your key and your cell phone, and now it's remember your keys, your cell phones, your mask, your wipes, your hand sanitizer. So it's so many things now that we have to remember to do. And I get it. It's hard trying to change your culture, but it's necessary. We have to do this. And so while there may be instances, I get it, just human nature, when you run out, that it happened to me this morning. I ran out the house and I have my mask. I was like, oh, wait a minute, let me go back, and I had to go get it. It happens. And not to say that, it's justified that people forget. We get it, but we still have to be accountable even for our small mistakes. But for those folks who are intentional around not wearing the mask, who, maliciously like, I'm not doing it. I don't have to do it. These are my rights. I don't have to. Well, on Dillard University's campus, which is a private institution, we can say you have to wear the mask, and so in addition to that, we get it that you all want to, as Dr. Bullard and Dr. Courtney has already said, we all have missed each other. We've missed being around each other. We've missed being in fellowship with one another. As human beings, we are just we're social creatures. We have to have that human connection, and connecting via Zoom is fine, but it's something about that interpersonal communication connection that just makes it also so important for us as individuals. So we get that and we totally understand that. However, We are in a position where human interaction can, be to our detriment. And so, we are encouraging you all as college educated people, as smart and responsible adults, that you are going to not only take care of yourself, but you're also going to be your brother and your sister's keeper. We're praying that that's going to be the case, and we're believing in you. But just so you know, if you kind of get caught up a little bit and forget what the expectation is, know that there is a zero tolerance policy on social distancing and on mask wearing. Zero tolerance. What does zero tolerance mean? What it means basically is that there will be a consequence. There will be a sanction. There will be some type of disciplinary action that is taking place if you fail to comply with these mandates. So there will be no admonishment. There will be no warning. There will be no, okay, I know you good. I know you're a student leader. I know you're a good person. You never get in trouble. All right, I'm gonna let you go this time. There will be none of that. It is zero tolerance. So there will be something, whether it's a citation or a fine initially. And for those who are habitual offenders, it could lead to you being removed from the Dillard community. And that's not something that we want to do. And so understand, I think Dr. Buller made mention of, kind of people, maybe getting away with something. Understand that, all of your professors have been deputized to let us know if people are coming in your class, who don't have masks on. The staff are deputized to say, hey, we keep seeing this group of people that continues to hang around and gather together, and they're not socially distant. Your student leaders have been deputized to call people out and report to say, these folks are doing this. So understand that, it really is serious. What we're trying to do, we want to keep all of you safe. We want to keep all of you healthy, so that when you go back to your family, then they're also going to be safe, and you're not going to bring anything onto them. We as a people, as Black people, we all know that this thing has really impacted us way worse than any other group of people, in this country. And so we don't want to perpetuate that. And we definitely don't want Dillard University to be a petri dish for coronavirus. So we are asking you nicely right now to ensure that you are being compliant. And hopefully we won't have to ask you in a not so nice way. So thank you all, for doing what I know you're going to do to keep yourselves and keep our community safe.
Thank you, Dr. Saylor. We appreciate that. Y'all, if you haven't picked up on the theme of today, it's all about safety. It's about keeping you safe and secure. So please make sure you're taking heed to that and sharing that message with your peers. So next up, we have the fabulous Ms. Michelle Matthew, who will talk to us a little bit about transportation, and she will also tell you about some safety measures that she'll be giving out to us.
Well, hello, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well, staying safe. I am Michelle Matthew in the Office of Auxiliary Services, here to take care of most of your logistical needs while you matriculate through Dillard. Transportation is a lot. We basically shuttle students back and forth from the SUNO housing location to campus and back. I can welcome any questions in the Q&A that you may have on that. And then as far as the safety kits, or you got this cool little box, right? Be COVID, mask up, COVID down. And it's gonna have some signature items in here. This is my box, so I'm gonna touch it so you guys don't have to feel like I'm touching everybody's stuff. But it's some masks. You all get 2 masks apiece. There's some branded hand sanitizer and some sanitizing wipes. Those are gonna be given out to all the students, just so that you guys know we're helping be that ambassador for Dr. Saylor to make sure everyone is safe. They're washable, so you guys can wash them in the res halls. Again, I welcome any questions in the Q&A. And if not, send me an email at matthew@dillard.edu and we can chat more.
Y'all got a bad habit of talking and being on mute. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Ms. Michelle. We appreciate that. Next up, by your request, everyone, we have invited your SGA president to this week's webinar, Mr. Traylon Rogers. So next up is Traylon.
Good afternoon, morning to some people. So I don't have any necessarily updates as it pertains to what we're doing, well, what's going on campus, but I do have updates as it pertains to student organizations and SGA. And we have been working to create some virtual programs. I know other student organizations, DAB and LED, and DLE have also been working to create virtual programs so that we can still have the same student life, but socially distant as well as virtual in some instances. We're still working to advocate for students who may want to do online classes, making sure that we have laptops, bridging the digital divide, Wi-Fi access. Currently working on the second round of CARES Act money to come out. Hopefully you will receive something today if you are a current student or graduated senior, I guess, at this point. So we've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, advocating for equity, I guess, equity in a sense, during the pandemic, making sure everybody has access and resources necessary to be successful for the upcoming school year, mentally and both mentally and academically. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Traylon. We appreciate it. As Traylon said, we've been hard at work this summer to really think about what will, student programming look like in a virtual space. I know all the leaders of student orgs have been hitting me up like, hey, when are you going to tell us something? It is coming very soon. As you all know, things are changing just about every day. So we want to make sure that we are sending out the most up-to-date information, and we're sending out things that will make sense. But we will have programming on campus. A lot of things will be virtual. Student organizations will not be doing programs for those first 2 weeks of school, simply because we kind of need to get to school. As Dr. Bullard has talked about, we need to have a baseline and kind of have everything together before we have too many moving parts. But rest assured, DAB, LID, and the SIL office and SGA have worked really hard to put some programs in place for you all. So more to come about that. If you have specific questions or concerns about that, email me directly. Next up is Ms. Lewis. And Ms. Lewis, I'm going to actually ask you some of the questions that folks have been sending in. I think that will help to facilitate your part better.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon to some of you, and as Traylon mentioned, good morning to some of you who may be on the West Coast. One of the things that I know I was going to touch base on in this session was the U+2 enforcement that we're having for each person moving into the residence hall. What that means is that when you arrive to campus, or to SUNO if you live at SUNO, you will only be allowed to have 2 other persons assist you with moving into the residence hall. Whenever you check in on main campus only, you're going to receive 3 wristbands. 1 is for you, and the other 2 are for the persons that's going to help you. You get to decide who gets them, but it's only going to be 3 wristbands per student. If you live at SUNO, the officers will stop you at the gate and they will ask you to confirm who those persons are in your vehicle. Moving on to guest and visitation, we do have newer policies now, and as Dr. Saylor mentioned earlier, everyone's behaviors could be, impacted in a negative way to someone else. And because we are in a community environment, we do want to reduce the density in all of our halls and just make sure that we're all doing our part to keep each other safe. So with that said, will not be allowed in any of the residence halls. A guest is someone who does not have a contract with a specific residence hall with our office. So if I live in Williams, I will not be allowed to visit in Camphor or Hartselle, Straight Williams, or SUNO. That's the scenario. If a person lives within that building, they may visit with each other. And our visitation hours are still the same. It's still 10 a.m. to midnight. Now, in the common spaces, within the traditional halls, those areas will be allowed to use, that for you to use, but on a reservation basis only. So we'll have forms in each building that you could use to sign up for those spaces if you want to reserve it. And of course, we also will limit the number of people in those spaces per hour. In addition to that, all students using those spaces will be required to wipe down those surface areas. Our facilities department will provide hand sanitizing wipes in those spaces. And so you will be required to wipe those areas down after each use. But that's the update on guest and visitation and U+2 for now.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. We have a few questions for you. So the first question is about the move-in schedule. How do I know when I'm moving in? And I'm not sure if this is from a first-year student or incoming student or a returning student, but can you touch on that?
Yes, so for our incoming students, that information has already been emailed to them, and those move-in dates are August 11th and August 12th. Students will select their own time slot. We do have a specific number of slots available per hour, per hall, per floor. So that email was also sent out, and we have several submissions to come through. So if you are an incoming student on this call and you did not select your time slot, please do so. You cannot just show up on either day and move in, you know, kind of like whenever you feel like it, but we want to make sure we account for everyone. For continuing students, you didn't miss anything. That email has not been sent. The original move-in date for continuing student was Saturday, August the 15th, as printed in our academic calendar, but we did need to add one additional day at the request of the university. So continuing student and move-in dates are August the 14th and August the 15th. We do need to change our logistics, so that's the only reason why our continuing student population have not received your specific move-in date. What happens if you can't move in on the date we send you? You simply send us an email and we will work with you to change that. For any person, like normal, if you were trying to arrive on the weekend, our business offices are not open. So you will not be allowed to move in unless you are fiscally cleared. And that message is specifically for continuing students. For my new students, you guys have to let us know, and most of you have been doing a great job with emailing me. So you have to let us know if you cannot arrive on the dates we have published, because we need to coordinate that with the orientation team to make sure that you get everything you need to start with your orientation process on time.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Someone is asking, do we only have 1 hour to move in?
No, on move-in day, you'll have 2 hours. So right now we have what we call early drop-off. This is something that's new that we've implemented to help reduce the density on our new student move-in days. So those students have 1 hour as of right now to move in.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you. Go ahead.
I do want to kind of, just to kind of clarify, for a couple of our halls, Hartselle and Straight, we have 2 hour blocks, but for Camphor and Williams, for the first year new student move in, those will be 1 hour blocks because of the number of people who have to come in. However, it's not that they got to have everything moved in within the hour. What we're saying is we don't want everybody showing up at one time. So we're staggering like who starts moving every hour. So we don't expect everyone to move all their stuff in an hour, but we just want to make sure that, you know, who starts at 8, you know, then there'll be a different group of people who will come walk in the door at 9. So hopefully by 9, those folks that came in at 8 will have gotten most of their heavy stuff out the way, and they may just be now just moving around to set up and clear out, clean up and things like that, you know, or get their room set up. So it is a difference though in those two particular halls because of the numbers of people we have to make sure we get in.
Great. Thank you, Dean Saylor, for clarifying that. one of the questions was, when will we be notified about move-in date? So like Ms. Lewis said, that has been emailed. So if you are a first-year student, not a first-year student, but a new student, you should have already received that. So incoming students, transfer students, if you are a returning student or continuing student, then that information is forthcoming. So be on the lookout to receive that very soon. A question for Dean Saylor or for Ms. Lewis: if we filled out the Google form on who was going to help us move and we need to change that, what should we do?
Ms. Lewis, what was
I was going to say, I'm not sure if that came from, I know continuing students should have not submitted that because we didn't send that to them. I'm thinking the person is maybe referring to their time slot that they signed up for. They can send us an email to housing@dillard.edu with whatever change they're seeking to make, and we can do that for them.
Great, thank you. And then if that email came from SOAR, because I think they had a similar email, then just reply to that email. Just email soar@dillard.edu and let us know that. So either that one or Res Life, and we will get it to the correct person.
And yeah, and for Res Life, we have not asked them to tell us specifically who's coming with them, because we've just told them you can only have 2 people come into the halls. I know on the sign up sheet, some people have in the comments said, oh, it's gonna be me, my mom and dad, it's gonna be my brother and sister. That's fine. If you're gonna change though the time though, you wanna change the slot, then we would probably need to know that. But as far as the individual persons, we're not asking for that, because we're, you're only going to be allowed to have 2 people. So whoever those 2 people are, is up to you. They just can't be anyone who is a minor.
Right. Thank you, Dean Saylor. Another question that I'm getting is, I'm a commuter. What's going on with commuters? What's going on with parking? I'm a new student, I'm a commuter. When am I supposed to check in and all of that? So in terms of parking, you are allowed to park on campus. You can park in any of the lots on campus. So whatever your preference is, you may park there. You will have to get a parking pass. So once school starts, our police department will send out a campus-wide email that will have the information on how much parking passes cost and all of that information. And the payment for the parking pass is annual. So you only pay for 1 year at a time, or I believe you can also pay for 1 semester at a time. I'm a commuter student, and what time should I report to SOAR? That is a great question. So I will make sure that Ms. Wax or I actually get an email out to you all today that outlines that information. I want to drive home the point that we need you all to come to SOAR. It is for all incoming students, not just students that are not local. So please make sure that you have made arrangements to be at all of the mandatory sessions. Okay, this is for Dean Saylor, Dr. Lewis. It's also a 2-hour block for Gentilly Gardens. Okay, I think they're just asking about how long do they have to move in if they're living at the gardens, and about the date for move-in. So the date is forthcoming, whoever asked that question, as Ms. Lewis said, and the time frame for the gardens is what again, Dean Saylor?
No, I was going to say, we develop the time frames based upon the number of people who have to move in and the number of hours that we have, for the move-in day. So, if we have an 8-hour block, and depending on the number of people we have to move in, we kind of formulate the numbers per hour based on that. So we don't have that number yet, but when, it'll be coming out very soon.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Dean Saylor. So that answers a few questions. Are there specific parking requirements at SUNO, Ms. Lewis?
Yeah, so all Dillard University students residing at SUNO must have a Dillard University decal that will be honored at SUNO. So you don't have to purchase 2, but you do have to purchase the Dillard University decal. This is forthcoming for all of our SUNO residents. You have to submit the SUNO online application. They require an application for all persons that reside on the property On that form, we have included a question to ask if you are registering your vehicle. If so, we ask you for, general information, make, model, your state, and your license plate number and the color of your vehicle so that they have it on file. But just make sure when you arrive on campus, you go ahead and purchase your campus decal so that you do not have any issues at SUNO.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Ms. Michelle, how does the washing machine, the laundry work? Can you talk a little bit about laundry services?
Definitely. So laundry, we right now have a wash app. When you guys get here, you'll get an email from me that tells you to download the Quantum Laundry app. And from there, you'll be able to monitor which machines are available. You are not going to need to bring any coins or anything like that. Pretty soon, you'll be operating the machines through your app. Right now, I just have it set to monitor everything. And those laundry rooms are located inside of each residential hall. And if you're staying in Gentilly Gardens, you have 2 laundry facilities in that complex. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Lewis, at SUNO, the washers and dryers are in the units.
That's correct. You do not have to leave your apartment if you reside in a 4-bedroom unit. There are 2 bathrooms and 1 full-size washer and full-size dryer within the apartment that all 4 persons will share. If you are in a 2-bedroom apartment, then you have a stackable washer and dryer with.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Excuse me, Dr. Courtney. And also, guys, the SUNO Apartments is not on the Quantum app because that's a different property from ours. But you'll be able to look at the machines inside your residence halls or the Gardens community while you're on campus. At SUNO, it's in your unit, so you're manning that yourself.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Michelle. We appreciate that. The next question, what do we have to do in order to work on campus? So there are 2 types of work that happen on campus. So there's work through the Federal Work Study Program. If you are a recipient for Federal Work Study, that will be on your financial aid summary, which has been shared with you by the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. If you have it, they have already notified you. If you don't have work study, there are other opportunities to work on campus. So the different offices on campus will actually post information about how to work with their office. Or if you see an office, you're like, oh, that person's really nice. Like, I would love to work there. Just go up and talk to them and find out if they have any opportunities for you to work with them. So again, all about networking, all about building relationships. So don't hesitate to ask about offices. The next question, I have classes and the professor is not listed. Don't panic, don't worry. That is totally normal, not just at Dillard, but at most universities. Right now, we are updating everything in our system, so you should see that shortly. I'm assuming this is from a first-year student. So if you have a very particular question about, hey, what about this professor or what about this course, you can email ace@dillard.edu. That's ACE@dillard.edu. And this is the address for University College. Your advisor is there and they can assist you with any type of academic questions. So who is teaching this class? What types of books do I need? Will I need books? Can I get in contact with this professor? They will be able to assist with all of those questions and more. So feel free to reach out to them. The next
Dr.
question.
Courtney.
Yes, ma'am.
One other point to that, somebody else asked the books and when it will be posted. Just understand sometimes your books that are required for your courses are not given until you start your first class. And that information is usually provided in your syllabus. So don't be alarmed if you do not have the required book materials prior to the first day of class starting.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Ms. Lewis. That's a really important thing, y'all. So don't panic. It will be on your syllabus. You'll be able to purchase it from the bookstore or order from Amazon or anything like that. So we will, your professor will make sure that you receive that information. I have a question about clearance. I've set up a payment plan and haven't been cleared yet. So they are clearing students literally as they are receiving the information. Your best contacts about clearance are Business and Finance and the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. So if you reach out to them, you can either call their number or you may email them at Bursar, that's BURSAR at Dillard.edu. That is the contact for the Office of Business and Finance, or financial aid at Dillard.edu, and they will be able to answer those questions about clearance. Clearance is different for each student, so we just don't have a general answer for that. All right, if we get tested in our city, can we get tested when we arrive, and will that affect our ability to move in? Yes, you can get tested when you arrive if you were not tested at home. So those particular questions about testing, Dr. Bullard touched on that earlier, but if you're looking for more specific information, please shoot us an email. You may email studenthealth@dillard.edu, or you can email dustudentsuccess@dillard.edu. And I'll be sure to share all of these email addresses when I send a follow-up email. So just reach out to those particular people. And again, because it differs for each student, they'll be able to give you specific information. But to answer the next question, yes, the testing is mandatory. Someone asked about being able to drop off their belongings. So Ms. Lewis has talked about that. If you have particular questions about that, feel free to reach out to her at housing@dillard.edu. When will the email be sent to continuing students? It will be sent out very soon. I don't know if Ms. Lewis or Dr. Saylor wants to touch on that.
Once we work out all of the logistics with both campuses, I'm saying both campuses, but with our SONO partners and then also with our other departments on our campus and have everything finalized, then we will send that out. We plan to send it out no later than Monday morning. Once again, once we send you your confirmation date, if there's an issue, respond to housing@dillard.edu and we will work with you. The main thing that continuing students need to know is that you have to be cleared in order to move in, as Dr. Courtney has already stated. If you have received your COVID test results, you need to email them to studenthealth@dillard.edu. That is a requirement.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Lewis. I was tested in July. Will I need to be retested to be on campus? That depends on the date of your test. So please email studenthealth@dillard.edu, share your results with them, share the date with them, and they will provide you guidance on whether or not you need to be retested once you arrive. All right, just a few more questions. So if y'all have any wrap-up questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. The last few that were emailed to me is, do we have to stay on campus after we move in, or can we stay with our family in a hotel? Well, I absolutely would recommend that you stay on campus. So we will have different activities and things for you all that will happen in the evenings, and staying on campus is going to be the new normal for you. So it's a part of transition. So it's important for you to get to know the folks who are in your orientation groups, to get to know the folks who live on your floor. And so the best way to do that is by staying on campus. So highly, highly recommend that you stay on campus. If you're worried, oh, I'm going to miss my mom or something like that, we absolutely understand that, but they will soon be leaving. So kind of talk with your parents and work out your routine for how you want to communicate and begin practicing that at that moment. And also on Monday, we will be hosting the parting ceremony. So our university chaplain will be doing that. And so during that, we'll talk about, what that kind of separation looks like, what it looks like to transition and to refocus and restart as a college student away from home. So again, if you have specific questions, feel free to email any of us and I'm happy to go into further detail. Are we going to be back for the spring semester? That's a great question. And I will say that is really going to depend a lot on everyone's actions once they arrive to campus. So again, just like with the fall semester, everything is dictated by the state, the city, the federal government, and the CDC. So it will depend on how we're doing. And particularly for us at Dillard, it will depend on how well we are taking care of ourselves. So the answer to that, we will hopefully have sooner than later, but we'll just have to see. So we don't want to kind of give a blanket answer right now and then things change drastically. So just kind of make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're holding your peers accountable, you're using your mask, you're washing your hands, you're social distancing, and I'm hopeful that we will return for the spring, but we will find out. If our semester ends on November 24th and exams are virtual, when do we leave for break? You will leave on that last day of classes. If you are a residential student, Residential Life will communicate that information with you. And I believe they already have, but if you have a specific question about when do I move out of my residence hall, just ask them when you arrive, or email them at housing@dillard.edu, and they will be able to share that information with you.
Dr. Courtney, I'll elaborate a little bit more. So guys, we are going to follow the information printed in the academic calendar unless we need to, adjust and change based on things that may happen in the future that we currently do not know. So as of right now, as Dr. Courtney mentioned, the week of Thanksgiving, I do not remember the specific date, but it is in the academic calendar. Whenever the residence halls close, that's the same date that we're going to follow. Some people leave earlier than that date, and that's fine, but we will have opportunities for you to select your checkout date closer to Thanksgiving.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. All right, are we going to be allowed to go outside campus the night we move in, such as going to the store and get food? Yes, you can go off campus. Of course, wherever you go, we expect you to continue to be socially distant, wear your mask, keep your hand sanitizer, and all of that stuff. But we are not like locking you in when you come to campus. So you are able to navigate on and off campus. And if you have specific questions about that, feel free to talk to your store leaders when you get here, or talk to any of the staff. If you're saying, oh, I need to go to Walmart, or where's this place, where's that place? We can tell you how to get to those places. So we will work with you on that. So if you have kind of a specific question, feel free to reach out to us. And with that being said, we do not have any other questions in the chat. Panelists, do you all have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm available: Twitter, email, Instagram, Facebook, cell phone, it doesn't matter. If you have questions or concerns, something that you want me to bring up to not just the student success folks, but academic affairs or enrollment management, I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Anyone else got any closing remarks?
If we have any of our early arrivals on the call who are scheduled to come on Sunday, you can expect to receive an email from me later this evening letting you know what to do. So if you live at SUNO, which it's about half of you that's residing at SUNO, again, you will have to submit the SUNO application. I am going to ask each of you to tell us what time you are arriving. We do not want anyone to just show up outside of the move-in hours. So just be on the lookout for that email later this evening.
Thank you, Ms.
I just want to say, we're looking forward to seeing everyone back, and we're anticipating a great semester here. And, we just ask that everyone come with an open mind, come being flexible. And, because we all have had to change our routine. We've had to change how we do everything, as a result of this pandemic. And so those changes we've had to make in our lifestyle since March, they're going to have to continue even once you come back onto the Oaks, because the coronavirus doesn't stop at the gates. It comes right on over into our gates as well. So please bring the same level of flexibility and mercy and graciousness and understanding that you've been working with all this time, so that way we can have a really successful semester here. Thanks so much, y'all. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much, Dean. Any final comments from Dr. Bullard or Ms. Michelle?
Just send me them ID photos.
Yeah, if you have ID photos and you have not submitted those, you can submit those to idphotos@dillard.edu. Really easy to remember. So be sure to submit those. Thank you all for logging on. Oh, Dr. Bullard, you gonna say something? Okay, all right. Thank you all so much for logging on. We have appreciated y'all talking to us today. If you have further questions, feel free to just email those to us. If you don't know who you're supposed to email, just email me at any of the email addresses and we will direct you to the right person. Y'all be safe and we look forward to seeing you soon. We'll send out communication about when the next webinar will take place and we'll see everyone in a few days.